Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today we are going to be going out to the shop and tuning a Willys Jeep, or an old Willys. So we're going to be getting to the shop here in a minute, and going to take you guys along for the ride today. And yeah, I guess you guys will be seeing this build pretty much the first time I'm seeing it. So we're going to show up here in a second and see what this thing's got going on. So not something you see every day here. It's Willys, old school, but new school under the hood. So it's got a 6-liter with some cylinder heads on it, big camshaft, you know, bigger injectors, big throttle body, and turbo 350 transmission and headers out the top. So it's got 3-inch dual exhaust coming out of the stacks here, and we have the cars tuned on HpTuner, and we just got a bunch of idle stuff worked out with it, and now we're about to make some power runs and kind of see where this thing's at. Turbo 350 transmission, and I'm just going through here. Ton of idling bugs with it, but we are getting her lined out now. Breathe on the key.
Well, it was getting up 300 horse like quick.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Well, that's probably what it's making, but it's lean as fuck.
Well, if it's that lean, more fuel's gonna help, right?
Oh yeah. Lean is not always lean.
Yeah, to a point, it sure isn't.
Alrighty guys, so the Jeep on the dyno here, we got a lot of the idling and cruising worked out. So the truck was running pretty good. just idling and just kind of driving around. But as soon as I'd lay into the throttle, it was pretty lean. It was, 13, 14 air fuel ratio, and I just kind of got out of it right away, just to prevent any issues from arising, if I had stayed in it. So I've been trying to just adjust the fueling a little bit, try a pull, and then back out of it and just kind of see where everything's at. And that's kind of the short pulls that you're seeing here are just me getting out of it because the truck is still lean. So I'm having to shut it down and then go through and rewrite the file on the HpTuner because this thing is running on a stock GM computer here. And eventually here we get the fueling lined out where I can actually stay in it for a full pull. And we end up finding some other little issues with the truck. But man, this thing is giant. As you can see in the camera footage here, it takes up pretty much the whole view of the footage here. But it is super cool. It's super unique, not something you see every day, and really was fun to tune this thing. My buddy Adam, he was actually on Street Outlaws. Adam, he had a red Chevy pickup truck that he raced the Memphis Street Outlaws with, and he brought this truck over to me and just wanted me to help him out with it. So hopefully me and Adam will be working together soon in the future as well. He was talking about maybe helping me with the Black Mustang and help me maybe with some chassis stuff because that's what he does for a living. So he brought it over for some tuning, and yeah, like I said, we're going to show some more pulls here in a second and talk about some issues in a second when they arise, and hopefully make some sense of this monster of a Jeep.
Just the battery lid fell off the tire.
Oh, okay.
So what happened? But I didn't see the pull was hard.
No, up top it got really fat. I put a ton of fuel in it and it went too rich up
I
top.
was going to say, because it didn't make much more horsepower.
No.
How many hours did you get it to?
5,800.
Oh. So it's basically, from what I'm learning right now, it's impossible to just throw a program in one of these without a dyno.
Not something that's radical, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's pretty hard to tell in video here, the couple little dyno pulls that we did so far. The truck was doing really good up until 5,800, 6,000 RPM. It just went flat. The truck just wouldn't really build any more RPM than that. No matter what I did with fueling, it was a little rich, but it wasn't rich enough to where the truck shouldn't have been building RPM. And it was just an issue that was really stumping me. I figured maybe the rev limiter was activated, even though I had all the rev limiters set at 7,000. The thing was acting like it almost was hitting a rev limiter at 5,800 RPM every time. So we continued to do some more dyno pulls here and discovered that there was something mechanical going on, and I ended up scratching my head for a few hours on this thing trying to figure out what the hell was going on with it. But the moral of the story is we got it figured out. The valve train was actually hanging open at high RPM because the truck just didn't really have the proper rocker arm push rod set up in it, and at high RPM it just wasn't happy. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell in any of these future clips here, but the truck just definitely changed pitch at 5,800 no matter what we did to the tune-up. It just was pissed off above 5,800 RPM. It did not want to build anymore, and you know, hopefully soon here. We did get it all sorted out, but yeah, enjoy the rest of these dyno clips. Right now it is.
Yeah.
Shutting it off at like 5,800.
I was gonna say what.
It's clean up until like 5,800, and then it's like something shutting it off for some reason. So it almost sounds like a rep limiter a little bit, but
Yeah, something, right?
so here we were kind of brainstorming some ideas before we kind of figured everything out. And I initially was like, maybe it's a fuel pressure issue because this truck actually had a newer style LS car intake with a returnless style fuel rail, and it had a Corvette fuel filter regulator deal on it, and I've had nothing but problems with those where they will just kind of drop fuel pressure as RPM increases. So I said maybe that could be a possible issue. We ended up pinching off the return line off the Corvette regulator to try to, you know, boost fuel pressure up, and had a mechanical fuel pressure gauge on the intake just to make sure that the fuel pressure wasn't an issue. Just kind of did a bunch of diagnosing. We ended up pulling the spark plugs out of it, checking the straps, and making sure that the plug gap was good and everything like that to make sure it wasn't an ignition breakup issue. Just a ton of little things that we did try with this thing before we finally said, okay, it's something mechanical, and ended up discovering the valve float issue. It's not yanking timing out of it or anything. It's just like, I don't know, it's hitting a wall.
What's that?
I said I can see what the run looked like on here,
Yeah.
and it's not pulling timing out or anything. It's got to be a fuel related issue, but I don't know where. Well, these things, it sucks because they're a fucking deadhead system, and I hate the deadhead.
Yeah, well, see, the last intake, I didn't have that thing. Did it told me?
Yeah. What you could do on this is you can take the fuel feed here and then take the valve out of this,
Yep.
and run a return line off the front here,
Okay.
and run that to a regulator, like a
Same thing? I heard it break up in second, or...
yeah, that was at 5,800. Same time for both.
That fucker's pulling good and hard right up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Where the
ain't-
fuck won't it come faster?
There again, the fuel now, with it having so much more RPM and shit, it should have shot past that if it was a fuel issue.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking there's something electrical that's the only thing that could magically do it at that RPM. It sounds great, great color, but you can really hear it in second.
Yeah, I stayed in it purposely just to fucking see if it get past it.
It won't.
Alrighty guys, so a little recap of what went on with this Willys Jeep here. It kept, we had some issues where, you know, the idling was kind of funky just because it's a big cam HP tuner car, so there's 100 different tables that you have to manipulate for the idle to be happy. And you know, we got that all squared away, and we finally started whacking the thing on the dyno, and ended up having issues where it acted like it was hitting the rev limiter at like 5,800 RPM. And we verified that like the fueling was good, obviously, the ignition timing wasn't dropping off, none of the torque management stuff was on. I just made sure and went through 100 different things with the thing, and at the end of the day I was like, man, there must be a hidden rev limiter on this ECU. So I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find anything. I turned all of it off, or I turned all of it up, because there's like, you know, a couple different tables for the rev limiter, you know, based on if you are moving or if you're at a standstill, coolant temp based, transmission gearing based. There's a whole bunch of different tables for just the rev limiter alone. So I was playing with all those and found out that none of it was causing this issue. And I don't know if you can hear it in video, but definitely at a certain RPM, the engine just kind of changes pitch. And it sounds real good, real crisp, clean, pulling strong, and then it hits like 5,800 and it just goes bleh, and it just sounds flat. It sounds flat, like it's got, you know, some back pressure or valve control issue. And right after I was scratching my head for a couple hours, after I was scratching my head here, Adam, the guy that owns the truck, mentioned to me that he had some, you know, Chinese rockers in it, and they're a different ratio with a different length push rod and stuff like that. So I don't know, we're pretty much narrowing it down to that's causing this issue. So I think something in the engine is having some valve control issue. At a certain RPM, it just gets unhappy. So it's just a thing I've never really ran into, because I always, for the most part, always run 7/400 length push rods and stock LS rocker arms with the trunnion upgrade. That's kind of the only way that I go, because every setup that I've messed with to date that has different length push rods and you know, different rocker arms and stuff like that, it's tricky to get them to work right. So, and this one's no different. I actually had an issue, if you guys remember the 350Z that we did, that had an L33 with a big cam and Chinese rocker arms. It was actually hanging the valves open, cranking it, and at idle, so it would misfire at low RPM, but be good up top. Where this one's the opposite. It runs good downstairs, but has problems upstairs. So that's something that, you know, we're gonna have to look into. He actually took the thing back, and he's gonna go talk to the guy that's helped him with the cylinder heads, and, you know, they tried to get every ounce of compression out of this thing they could, so they milled the shit out of the heads, and they had to change push rod length and stuff like that to accommodate. So they're gonna just kind of double check some stuff over and then bring it back, and hopefully we can get more than 6,000 RPM out of this engine, because it's on a really good upward trend. But I just did a 6-liter not too long ago in a Cutlass that it made over 400 horsepower with a good set of heads, and you know, I think that one just had trunnion upgrade rockers and stuff like that, and we got to spin that one 7,000, no issue. But this one, you know, it's making great horsepower. As you can see here, 401 horsepower we got out of it, but you can see 5,800, 5,900, 6,000. You know, it's just kind of limiting right at the same spot every time. Even though I'm trying to spin it higher, it's just dropping power like a mofo. You know, right where that valve control issue is occurring. So that's kind of what we're thinking. You know, time will tell, obviously, if he finds some issues there. He's gonna bring it back in another day or two, and we'll go from there and see what kind of power we can make with it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little clip. This truck is badass, and I can't wait for it to run right. It runs pretty good now, but it'll get even better from here. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving to all you, and yeah, see you later. So before the end of the video here, I did want to mention that Adam ended up bringing the truck back to me the next day, actually, with stock 7400 push rods and stock rocker arms with a trunnion upgrade, and the thing spun 7200 RPM, no issues, and made, I think it was like 410 wheel horsepower through this freaking huge driveline. Was extremely impressive, and yeah, he's been out ripping it and enjoying it, and I'm hoping to work with him some more soon. Maybe we'll get some footage of the truck running around at his place. He's got a little racetrack in his backyard, actually, so maybe we can hang out there someday. And yeah, just wanted to give you guys an update that we did figure the truck out, and it was just you know, some valve train issues. So anyways, got her solved, got her ripping, and on to the next one.